Alright, so now we're going to look at a bed of basil that has some other weeds, wild plants growing in it, and just show kind of how we can maintain a balance between the wild growing plants and the cultivated plants, um, and to maintain that balance. So here, this is a bed of basil, different kinds of basil, purple and Thai and Genovese. Um, and at the bottom of it you can see there's purslane growing, um, and some of the leftover vetch and sorrel. But this bed was actually in a cover crop of rye, and you can see how fast the chaff has decomposed. Um, and now the the soil is still maintaining um, that quality of aggregation within the soil itself. Um,
Is that purslane growing too close to your cultivated plants?
I don't think so. So as you can see, the purslane is kind of, this is purslane, by the way, a succulent which is very good, edible, high in other healthy constituents. Um, it's acting as a ground cover in this sense, and so what it's doing, it's helping to protect the soil. These weeds, and most weeds, are doing something, and they're here for a purpose, for a reason. They're nature's band-aid in a way. We've done something to create an imbalance by tilling the soil and turning it and exposing the soil, and these plants, these wild plants, are coming back to heal that wound in a way. Um,
So they're not taking anything away from the basil?
um, they're taking what they need, and if we can find this balance, what healthy plants are going to be able to access nutrients in the soil. And so taking care of plants, feeding them whole nutrition through the sprays and the minerals and everything, and keeping them healthy, they'll be able to access what they need, and they won't be outcompeted by weeds. The out competition of weeds happens when our plants are not doing well and they don't have the ability to find the food for themselves. A lot of that happens because the soil is sick, and the soil gets sick when the life is gone out of the soil. So all of the cover cropping and the low intensive tillage and everything, is helping to maintain that biological living community, so that our plants and the weeds can still grow healthy but not in competition. So the purslane is acting as a ground cover. It's doing a lot. It's bringing stuff up. Um, to work with it, you can pull it out and eat it. I mean, I think that's one of the easiest and best things. A lot of these weeds are very, very high in nutrients.
Did you clip it
You can
or
clip
pull it?
it or just pull the leaves off. The whole thing is edible.
I mean, is it good to leave some of the plant in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what this is a method that I've been doing. You can do it in different ways, but I find this the easiest on a larger scale too when working. I'll just use my hands as a as a tiller, almost not a tiller but as a cultivator, and just kind of work the soil and work the roots, and so just taking my hands and using it like I'm scratching or massaging the soil, and I am bringing up these weeds, the purslane and such, but I'm leaving it right here. And rather than taking all of the time to pull out the weeds by the root and take them to a compost pile or somewhere else, I'm doing a few things in this process of just massaging the soil like this, scratching the soil, is aerating it by scratching the surface, which allows air and water to move in and out of the soil. It's bringing up the plants, and it's not getting rid of the plants, but um, it's stressing them out in a little bit that they're gonna not grow back right away and still allow space for the basil to continue growing. So, and it's leaving this right here. So this plant, if it starts to decompose, it's gonna just lay down a lot of that nutrients that are inside of its body. So it's all staying here. We're not getting rid of anything, but we're just using our hands to lightly cultivate the soil like this.
What if there's other plants growing in the purslane, like right there?
So this is purslane is right here, and this is sorrel. So sorrel is kind of a similar leaf structure as clover, but the leaves are heart shaped and got little yellow flowers. Sorrel is another very good plant to eat, kind of sour, lemony flavored. And then sedge also, just found out, has also medicinal qualities, constituents to it. I'm not quite sure everything, but most plants that we have in our gardens have benefits to them, in addition to just being edible. So I'm using my hands just to turn up the soil like this and leave this stuff here. Leave all of the plants to remain, because they're not bad, and we're just making the space for our plants, the plants that we're trying to grow, to have space, to have sunlight, so that they can at least grow and get a head start above these wild growing plants. So you can see that the purslane is not really outcompeting this basil plant. It's just there on the ground.
So you're kind of composting in place.
Composting in place, yeah. Different names for it, I guess. Heard it called chop and drop. You know, you can cut the plants and just leave them right on top. But whatever's easiest. I find this a lot easier than carrying a sickle or something around. You just use your hands and using it to turn. And these plants will stay right here. They'll dry out, stay on top of the soil, become a mulch, and it's very easy to keep going. So that's it for that.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.